Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to the NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 14th of March 2022. It's Gary here again, and well, you know what? When I make a mistake, I make them in doubles. I guess I said last week that the Dundee game that was held yesterday was in the league because that's what my stupid eyes told me when I read the fixture list. Of course, it was not yesterday, as yesterday's was the Scottish Cup quarter-final game, which I'll talk about in a wee bit here. You know what? I don't even know what I did. I got a message from Alec Liddell, who's the VP of the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary, on Tuesday morning, saying, "Did you say on the podcast that we played Dundee in the league on Sunday? I thought it was a cup game." And I don't mind admitting I was a wee bit miffed. I'm like, come on, man. Like, listen properly here. Do the research that I do, and then you'll get your facts right. So then I check the facts, and then to obviously get a chance to throw him right back in his face, only to discover that he's 100% correct, and I'm the guy that's wrong. So yeah, that was a bit of a whoopsie. And so what it does mean for me, though, kind of handily, is this week my prep for games this week will be a lot less because I already wrote what I needed to write for last week's game. And the other one, in terms of me making a mistake, was the big long pause that I had and when I was talking about the Aberdeen game last week. I sit and record this in front of my computer screen so that I can just see what's going on. It's right now it's 5:20, and something happened on my screen, basically, long story short, and it got just kind of interesting, and I kind of looked at it and then thought, oh, I'm actually recording here. I should maybe get back to my night job, not my day job. So there you go, bit of a mess last week. I'm back this week. I think this week's going to be good. So on to the games segment for this week, and you know what, it's never ever a bad thing to say that in two very important games and two very important competitions for us, we enjoyed two 3-0 victories, and I wish I could just report that every single week on this podcast, because everyone's mood would just be so wonderful, and myself included in that as well. No league games this past week, of course, now that Alec has straightened me out and got me on the right path. But we did have a game in the last 16 of the Europa League and one in the quarter-final of the Scottish Cup to give us a wee breather from our obsessive quest for 3 points in each and every game in the league. The first game was at home to Red Star Belgrade, and you know, I kind of think I mentioned this last week. We weren't 100% sure how this was really going to play out. I did discuss last week that they're in very good form in their league, and they came into the game on a bit of a rich vein of form, 5 or so victories on the bounce. And you know, while we didn't quite hit the performances that we did against Dortmund, we still put in a brilliant shift all over the pitch again to give us an absolutely incredible and amazing 3-0 win, which I think actually was the largest margin of victory in the first tie of these round of games across the whole competition, if I'm not mistaken. I took a quick check on that, so maybe if I'm wrong on that, my apologies. But I looked, and I think there was a 3-2, but I didn't see any 3-0s in there. VAR, of course, was once again our friend throughout the game, chalking off, I think it was 3 offside goals for Red Star. Although, to be fair, the linesman on the pitch had already flagged them off for offside, and VAR just confirmed, you know, his on-field decision, and then giving us the penalty, of course, for the first goal after the foul on Ryan Kent went unnoticed by basically everyone on the pitch apart from Ryan himself, and I don't know if it was what he said to the referee that had the referee check it, or VAR were already going to check it anyway because of his protestations or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, we get the award anyway, and Tav smashes a world-class penalty into the postage stamp area of the goal. No goalie in the world is saving that one. He did slip a wee bit. I thought he'd slipped and skied it actually at the beginning, but you see that he slipped actually after it, you know, kind of well after he hit it almost, but just a fantastic penalty. And our second was a great move, culminating in a great finish by Alfredo Morelos, and we're 2-0 up in 15 minutes, and just, you know, in Wonderland, getting giddy with excitement. Red Star are attacking, they then get a penalty, and I have to admit, I didn't see a whole hell of a lot of replays on this one, to be honest, but going by the reaction of our players, there didn't seem to be too much by the way of argument. So I did think though that the yellow shown to Jack appeared to be a wee bit harsh based on some of the other challenges that were taking place in the game at the time. But up steps their star man, I can't remember exactly what his name was, but he played quite well that night, to lash a brilliant penalty low and hard to McGregor's right hand side. But that is also the side that McGregor went to full tilt, and he got such a firm hand on it that I think the Red Star goalie caught it. He just blasted it away. Just an incredible, brilliant save, and truly a definitive moment in the game, in the tie actually, in the whole round tie here, and it makes up for his earlier error. One of their, I think it was the second offside goal where he came out to kind of smother the ball and let it spill out. But we don't need to talk about that because the goal was chalked off, and he did exceptionally well on that penalty. Our third goal came from a Tav corner, expertly put away from the head of Liam Balogun in 51 minutes, and I'm just literally pinching myself at this point. And it could have been 4, and the tie, like almost certainly over at 4, had Connor Goldson, who I know that I give a lot of stick for his utter wastefulness in the opposition box most of the time. If he had not had his header cleared off the line in the second half again, we were just brilliant again. As I mentioned, not as intense or fantastic as Dortmund, but incredible nonetheless. And I'm certainly not going to say this tie is over, although the number of teams who come back from a 3-0 deficit in Europe has to be a fairly small pool. But you can see that we have goals in us at this level. That's 9 goals in 3 games that we've scored in the knockout stages, against 2 against Dortmund, 2 games against Dortmund, I mean, and the one against Red Star Belgrade. So I have to admit, I've got quite optimism that we're in really good shape for the return leg this week. One thing I did notice in this game in particular is that we did get a bunch of breaks, very fortunate breaks, especially in our own box when Red Star was attacking. And I think I mentioned in a recent pod, maybe it was last week, I don't even remember now, but I mentioned in a recent pod that I felt that from an attacking sense that we just weren't getting any or many breaks at all in the opposition box. Just like you would have a shot, a target, something like that. The goalie would save it, spill it, it would come off a defender, and it would just go nowhere. And we would have no opportunity to kind of tuck it away after that. But Lady Luck definitely shone on us on Thursday, and I will take it. On the referee watch, obviously a big shout out to VAR for ensuring that the on-field refs got the big calls correct. The Dutch referee did his job. When I was looking at the match report, though, I have to admit that I was a wee bit surprised that there were 6 bookings in the game, because I don't really remember it being overly aggressive or dirty, but that could just be because I was so immersed in everything that was happening. I just kind of forgot to pay that type and style of attention. But anyway, as I mentioned, for the refs for the Dortmund tie, the gulf in class between what we see in Scotland and what we see in Europe is just incredible, and not a good incredible. I'm going to give the ref an 8 out of 10 for this game, with the caveat again that I might have missed something out. So if I did, please forgive me on that one. Second game was yesterday morning's Scottish Cup quarter-final tie at Dundee, where we enjoyed another 3-0 victory to give us, by the way, our 4th clean sheet on the bounce, and a very, very healthy start to March after February's stutter fest that we did not enjoy very much of. We played really well from the start on what was a terrible pitch in front of what appeared to be only Rangers fans, as the Dundee fans appeared to just really be taking this whole social distancing thing very seriously, because I could hardly see any of them from the angle that RTV had it on anyway. But we got the first through a brilliant finish by Connor Goldson after a goal line stramash almost from a corner kick. I think it was from a corner kick, and it just shows that my motivational speaking expertise has done Connor the world of good. Almost a goal on Thursday, then a goal on Sunday, as we continue to build into the real prize-giving end of the season. Not a bad thing at all. I love it. Our second was another fantastic penalty, won and scored by our captain James Tavernier. His penalties, honestly, are just getting better and better, and he's in such good form for us right now. What a joy to see him in this kind of vein of form that he's in. Third goal was a wee bit later than I think we'd all have anticipated and probably hoped, but it came courtesy of Fashion Sakala, who looked very lively after he came on, and so did Kamar Roof. By the way, I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the second half when he came on, just all over the place. Just, sometimes he's got that kind of casual way about him, but he was in and about it from the second that he came on. It was great to see. But Fashion's goal came after great support play from Alex Lowry, just in the build-up, just a minute after he had come on as well. Terrific. Really, really good to see Aaron Ramsey get a solid 78 minutes in, and I thought he played well. Also good to see Charlie McCann and Lowry get some game time. And I tell you what happened to James Sands? I thought he was absolutely brilliant for the whole game. I think he got man of the match in the game. And he was just tremendous, and he actually looks like he's bulked up already from just in the a couple of months since we signed him. He was really, really terrific the whole game, so well done to him, and that really bodes well for us. And apparently Ahmad came on in the second half too, which must have been nice for him. On the referee watch, Stephen McLean had a semi-decent first half with not too much action to speak of, and then in the second half he was just garbage. I'm not 100% sure if he booked that clown Dundee player for not only punching Calvin Bassey away when they were kind of tussling for the ball, then he just body slams him immediately after that, and then later on there's a clear lunge at Ryan Jack right in front of him, and I tell you what, man, that tackle, the clear lunge was it, and I'm not saying it was the same guy, by the way. I know that I kind of made it sound like that, but that tackle was intended to injure. So I hope when the squad are watching this game on replay this week in preparation for the league game this weekend, that they take a note of who did it and what they did, and behave accordingly this weekend if that guy is playing, and we'll just leave that at that. But he just seemed to give up. Anyway, back to the referee I'm talking about now. He just seemed to give up in control of the game, or give up trying to control the game. So he goes from kind of vying for maybe a 7 out of 10 to getting a 3, and I think that's actually me being a wee bit generous, to be dead honest. So our reward, and I'm sure you've heard it by now, for dispatching Dundee is a semi-final tie against that mob from the East End, with a match to be played at Hampden on the weekend of April 16th and 17th. So that's going to make for a very, very interesting April for our great club, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. And as I've battered on about for quite some time now, our cup record is absolutely abysmal, and it has been for far too long. So this is a tremendous opportunity to squash them, smash them, and any drivel that of them talking about, oh, we're the only team that can win a treble this season and all that sort of thing, and then set us up to smash whatever of the Edinburgh teams gets into the final. Bring it on, is what I say. This week we have 2 games, one in the last 16 of the Europa League and one in the league. For real this time, it's a league game this weekend. Don't believe what you heard last week. The first is the Europa League, second leg away to Red Star Belgrade, and that's this Thursday with a 1:45 Eastern Standard Time kickoff. That's 5:45 PM UK time. Now remember that we're still an hour less than normal in terms of our closeness to the UK time, with North America's daylight savings time coming this past weekend. So make sure you adjust your time accordingly. And as I mentioned earlier, 3-0 is a tough score to come back from, but remember the goals that they chalked off very, very tight, and the penalty save, and it's pretty obvious that this tie is not done yet. A nice early Alfie goal to settle the tie would do just nicely, please and thanks. And just another quick reminder from a UEFA Europa League perspective that RTV doesn't cover these matches live, and they'll be available from around about midnight, I believe it is, on RTV, midnight UK time, but live it would be Paramount Plus and other channels in the US, I believe, and DAZN in Canada. The second game on Sunday is away to Bottom Club Dundee, and it's an 8 AM Eastern Standard Time kickoff. Yeah, a bit of an early one for us again. And as I mentioned last week, Dundee are in a red-hot battle with St Johnstone for the relegation and relegation playoff spots, and I'm sure it's not going to be an easy game, and I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more tense and probably a lot more physical than yesterday's game was, just by virtue of the desperation that both teams have. They need the points as desperately as we do, but of course for different reasons. So as I mentioned last week, we've played them twice this year in the league. Firstly, a 1-0 win at Dens Park, and then a 3-0 win in December at Ibrox, and obviously, of course, yesterday's 3-0 Scottish Cup victory as well. we need to expect a tough game, and we need to do what needs to be done to get the 3 points. And the way the team is playing right now, as I mentioned earlier, 4 clean sheets in a row. This is going really well. This is the prizes end of the season, the business end of the season, and we're hitting a bit of a vein of form after a really patchy January, February time. That would be wonderful. Let's just keep it going, Rangers. For RTV, I don't recall there being too many issues in terms of our RTV vouchers for last week. I think we're pretty much cleared up on those, and any expirations, please let us know, and Alan can get you sorted out with a new voucher. The main thing that we're doing right now is of course looking to have all the clubs paid up in full so that we can get our partners at RTV paid, and we are closely working. There's even as recently as yesterday we had another club coming in and providing a bit of an explanation as to where things are at and what's going to happen, and we'll work with every club. Just please don't do an ostrich and bury your head in the sand. Just get in touch and we'll have a conversation and we'll work something out that's going to be appropriate for the situation that your club is in. We're not difficult to deal with at all. So yeah, I think we're in good shape. I mean, and just to finish that part off, just a reminder again that if your club is still delinquent by the end of this month, so you just got just over 2 weeks to go, then you're going to get all vouchers cut off. You're not going to get any access to the Old Firm game on the 3rd of April if you don't get it sorted out. So please don't let it get to that, and please don't wait too long to have the conversations as well. For shout-outs, unfortunately I have to start with a sad one. This week, on behalf of NARSA, I'd like to pass on our sincere condolences to everyone at Bramalea Rangers Supporters Club on the passing of founder member and past president Dave McMaster. After a bit of a short illness there. I know that this has hit the Bramalea community hard, and it's just such an awful thing to deal with. Our thoughts and prayers are absolutely with Dave's family and friends at this very sad time. I was trying to get some information to maybe provide, in terms of if there's when the service and stuff is going to be. I just didn't get a chance to get that done before recording tonight, but I'm sure if you keep in touch with Bramalea, you'll get to see what type and style of event they're going to have planned in Dave's memory. So really, really sorry to hear that. No real smooth or easy way to transition from that, but I'll try my best to lighten the mood by sending huge congratulations to my friend and brother, the illustrious Sir Alan Dixon, who finally got the chance to celebrate assuming the position of potentate of the Al-Azhar Shriners of Southern Alberta this past Saturday night. We had planned for the Nobility Ball, which is the name of the Shriners event that kind of inaugurates the folks, to be combined with our Abbey Burns dinner back in January, but we had to reschedule that due to COVID restrictions that were in place at the time. So we then plumped at the time for the 12th of March, and by utter fluke, fortunately in Alberta, most restrictions were lifted on the 1st of the month, so we got to celebrate with Alan, First Lady Michelle, and around about, I think it was about 175 people that were there on Saturday night, and it was just a great time. Such a good atmosphere, such a good mood, a good feel good factor to the whole thing. So, and just so good to get back out there and feel normal again without a mask on, without having to look at people that are breaking protocols and all that sort of thing. Just a tremendously good night of great fun. So congratulations again, Alan, and I am sure you'll have a very successful year, my friend. For our convention update this week, I can officially confirm that it is 80 days, 80, until the first official event of the 2022 convention. And that's a wee bit weird because I think I said 86 last week, and I'm not 100% sure why I said 86, because 86 minus 7 would be 79. But the app that I use on my phone says it's 80 today, so I'm going to go and stick with what the app tells me. Maybe it said 86 last week, or I was just having one of those weeks, I'm not sure. But to put that in weeks context, that's just over 11 weeks. And as I've said for a wee while, it's going to get to single figures here pretty quickly. So makes me excited and nervous at the same time. One main update that we have from last week to this week is that we do now have the football on sale. The Absent Friends football match is on sale, and it is selling very, very quickly. And we have to confirm with the shirt supplier the shirt sizes of all the players by the end of this month. So we've got a couple of weeks basically left to do that. So you have a tight turnaround time on this one. And what I can tell you already, as we sit here, what's that, 3 or 4 days after we put it on sale, is that 2 of the 4 teams, numbers-wise, have already filled up. And it's 11 asides. So, and that's just in the first few days. So if you're planning to play, please, 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 please don't hesitate. Don't wait till the last minute, because you're going to end up being disappointed. We'll put the blurb in it for tonight's pod and just get on that, and please don't sit on the fence. We did get a couple of inquiries about people going to be able to spectate at the tournament as well, and the short answer is yes. We're just trying to figure out logistics for that, and I know that the Orange County boys are all over that as well. So short answer is yes. The logistics for that, we're not 100% sure just yet, but it's certainly something that we want to try and accommodate so that we can have as much atmosphere at the event as possible. Another reminder, just not to forget that the golf is also selling very well right now. If you plan to golf, same as the football, please don't delay in getting it booked. And as I mentioned the last couple of weeks, we are going to have some of the VIPs that will be golfing with us on the Friday. So, you'll have an opportunity to get a wee bit of, hopefully, a wee bit more of an intimate time with the VIPs, and maybe get some photographs and access to some decent stories out with the humdrum of the big 2,500 Bears event that's going on a short distance away at Planet Hollywood. On the VIP front, I think we'll be in a position to communicate some of who will be joining us from next week's show onwards. Right now we're organising travel, and we're working on the communications bios that we will use for for the announcements as they come out. So it is going great right now, and this is another very important step to get us well and truly underway. So I reckon from next week and right through the international break, Legends Weekend sort of thing, we'll have an opportunity to confirm the folks that have confirmed with us to date, and we still have a few in the works as well. And just a quick reminder, we do have a kind of 3-pronged approach for the guests. One is 9 in a row, one is Barcelona 72, and one is other major contributors as well. So more to follow on that, and I'm committing right now that from next week onwards we'll be in good shape, because we're just about there. I also mentioned last week on the pod, if you listened to it, that we had a very special announcement to make this week, and I am more than delighted to tell you that we have permanently renamed our Saturday night Grand Banquet to the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet. That's going to be the new name in commemoration of the great man himself and everything that he did for our beloved club. We'll communicate this from the name of this from this point forward as such, and kind of similar to the Tam Plunkett Blue Night that we have on the Friday night. And just a wee bit of background on this one, in the aftermath of Walter's passing, your NARSA executive unanimously agreed that we should do something in commemoration for Walter, and we went for this. We also did reach out to the Smith family, to Ethel and Neil specifically, to make sure that if we were going to do this, that it would be okay and it would sit okay with the family, and they confirmed very quickly that they were absolutely delighted and very appreciative of the gesture. So there you have it, folks. From this point forth, we have the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet on the Saturday night of each and every convention that we hold going forward. Just a small gesture, but something, hopefully poignant, and that will help us continue to remember the great man. So, main focus from a convention perspective, get the travel booked for the confirmed guests, get the communication sorted, and get them out there. That's what we'll be doing. Another plug for our frequently asked questions document. There is more information there about being able to buy and sell tickets and things like that. So if you have any questions, please go there for a visit first before giving us a shout. On the comms front for this week, the club announced on the website today that they are again in support of the Cafe Week of Action. The article said Rangers Football Club are once again delighted to support Cafe Week of Action as the club reaffirms its commitment to ensure equal access for all supporters. Cafe, which is the Centre for Access to Football in Europe, Week is held generally to celebrate access and inclusion in football. As part of the 2022 Week of Action, Rangers will introduce British Sign Language and touch tours of Ibrox Stadium for the first time. The club's groundbreaking diversity and inclusion strategy, Everyone Anyone, strives to ensure each and every supporter feels welcome and part of our club. The campaign continues to unite supporters from all walks of life and promote our key message of a zero-tolerance approach to all forms of discrimination. The BSL, which is the British Sign Language, and touch tours are designed to ensure that even more Rangers supporters than ever before can fully enjoy the experience of visiting the club's famous home. Supporters Liaison Officer Greg Marshall said Rangers Football Club will always strive to ensure that all of our supporters are made to feel valued and welcome both within the stadium and beyond. It's important fans continue to feel connected to the club, and the BSL and touch tours that will take place this week are designed to do just that. We continue to look for new ways to include as many supporters as we can in all club initiatives going forward. Another indication of areas where the club are genuinely trying to engage all levels of support and to ensure as much accessibility and accommodations as possible. Except when it comes to playing friendlies in Australia, it would appear. I did mention last week and the week before that Greg is actually looking for video messages to help promote the 150th anniversary celebration month, which is March. I'm not 100% sure if he's still looking for them. And I don't actually know if he's used any yet. I'm not hugely active on social media, so maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I'm not 100% sure. But if you are interested in doing one of those videos and getting it over to Greg, please, by all means, let me know how I can help you do that. Rangers also announced last week that they have suspended coverage of RangersTV service in Russia, stating this will include future match broadcast and all Rangers TV video content. I purposefully haven't mentioned the war in Ukraine thus far, as basically it's a NARSA Rangers podcast and you can get as much content on the war as you want from elsewhere, but the growing sanctions from across the globe, while likely anticipated by Putin and his posse, must be impacting the regular Russian population. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this unfolds. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with all Ukrainians right now. This does, of course, have an impact on the national team as well, with Scotland's World Cup qualifier being postponed until the June timeframe. And as far as I know, I might be wrong on this, but as far as I know, a date hasn't been set for that yet. But it could very well be the convention weekend in June, which would be kind of fun for the Bears over there that are into international football to go and enjoy it, assuming it would be on the Saturday afternoon at some point. So more to follow on that when we know, but an interesting move by the club and just in keeping with what the rest of the civilised world are doing about Russia's attack on Ukraine right now. And here's another blast from the past. Confirmed racist Ondrej Kudela has dropped his appeal against his 10-match ban that he was given for racially abusing Glenn Kamara last season. He said, "I realised that it was a mistake to go to Glenn Kamara at all and tell him anything. There were emotions in the match and unfortunately I can't take it back now. I'm so sorry." He doesn't actually admit what he said or what he did, and to be honest, I have no idea how many games of his 10-match ban were remaining. There can't have been that many, I wouldn't have thought. But there's nothing really truly to warm the cockles and restore your faith in the humankind than an insincere apology from a racist. So there you go. That's nice. That's really nice. Aye. Rangers confirmed today that they have appointed a new disability access officer. And the article said, I'm just going to read a wee bit of the article out here. Rangers have appointed a new disability access officer to help continue to make the club an inclusive environment for all supporters and visitors. We have over 25 years of experience working in disability rights and equality. With over 25 years, my word. With over 25 years of working in disability rights and equality, John Spears will support disabled fans while also helping to build and develop the services the club offer. In his role, John hopes to form strong relationships with supporters and be a recognisable face at both home and away matches. He said, "I attend every match and I have managed to build up relationships with quite a few of our disabled supporters over a very short period. I want to be visible at games to ensure people can come to me if they have any queries or questions and make sure there's always someone they can go to. I think that is a really important part of the role." With 103 wheelchair accessible places, Broxy's Den, Rex, Blind Party and the Disability Matters group, the club have committed to making Rangers and Ibrox Stadium an inclusive environment. And that kind of lends itself to the cafe stuff that I mentioned at the top of the communications section as well. So there is lots more included in the article, and I would encourage you to check it out if and when you can. But another really positive move from the club in a very important area, and to have someone dedicated to this role is truly the only way that you're going to get consistent and meaningful strides in this important area. So really good work, and well done to the club on this one. Finally, on the comms front, I wanted to provide you an update on Rangers' response to our official note to them on the 2nd of March regarding our request to have them rethink the friendly, in inverted commas, in Australia against the mob from the East End. And this part of it is going to be pretty quick, as I haven't received the courtesy of a reply as yet. And we are now at 5:49 p.m. and that is just coming up for midnight, I guess, at UK time. In a couple of days, that'll be 2 full weeks since I sent the email, and not to have the courtesy of a reply is pretty poor form, in my opinion. Now, I guess I could have said, please confirm receipt of this email in my original email, and I'd maybe have received a confirming receipt of your email in return. So maybe, just maybe, they get a small pass for that, but that's me being extremely generous, if I'm being honest. The club's well-famed dignified silence for communications works, when we're working on transfers or securing new sponsors or partners, or there's a whole bunch of innuendo or rumours flying around, about some nonsense or garbage or something that's maybe even true or something like that. But when there is very obviously enough fan sentiment displayed and expressed thus far, and some very raw emotion about a very divisive topic, to just go radio silent doesn't do anyone any good. Now, I understand that we're in a kind of 2 to 3 game per week scenario right now, and as I have mentioned before, that the one club mentality of every effort from every department of the club going into the next game is a really good mentality to have, but just completely ignoring this shows no cognizance or respect for fan sentiment on this one specific occasion. I'm not saying reply or react to every single thing going on. This is an exceptional circumstance, and it's just not cool at all, and I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit. As I mentioned last week, this is a very simple fix. By telling the truth, I'm not saying tell the truth about breaking confidence of contracts or anything like that, but just tell the truth about the decision-making process, about the club's stance, and then what, if anything, we can expect to see next. And then we will work on how we feel about that. But just ignoring us does not help with ongoing relations or camaraderie. And it's just another custard pie in the face. And I really don't mind admitting that this is a really concerning stance from the club. And it feels quite disrespectful as well. As I mentioned, I truly, truly hope the club don't double down on this and create any further ill sentiment on the back of this. They have to address this, and they have to address it soon. I'm assuming they're waiting for the international break, but they have a tremendous opportunity here to properly engage with the fan base and have meaningful dialogue with us. And my best advice to them is just take the opportunity and level set on the fan relationship model that we all want, and ensure that we don't end up in a similar situation in the future. Today, they've just decided that's not happening, which I guess is a stance of some description, and it's also a real shame. Again, anyway, as I mentioned, I'll keep you posted if I hear anything more, but I'd recommend you maybe don't hold your breath on that, or you will collapse and fall on the floor, I'm sure. And finally, we pushed out the competition for the official Rangers Club coin this past week, where we asked members and friends of NARSA to guess the scoreline in yesterday's Dundee Scottish Cup game. And after 12 correct entries of 3-0, the winner was drawn via random draw generator, and the winner was Jordan Lyle. So congratulations to Jordan, and we have already reached out for his details to get the coin shipped to him. Also, sincere thanks goes to Zenith Coins for giving us the chance to work with them, and of course for their generous gift. And I can tell you, my friends, that I purchased 5 of these coins late last year, 4 for gifts for Christmas and 1 for myself, and they're fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned this on a previous pod or not, but really good quality and such a nice wee keepsake to have. And I also purchased their 150th anniversary coin collection as well, and that arrived, I think it was about a month later, maybe maybe later last month, mid to late February, something like that. And it's absolutely stunning. It's brilliant. It comes in a cracking box that has 5 coins in it. One for the 55 league titles, one for 9 in a row, one for Ibrox, one for the Founding Fathers, and one for the Barcelona 72 European Cup Winners' Cup commemoration as well. And I just realised yesterday that I hadn't shown Leo, my son, the whole box yet. So I was all excited when I was getting it out, just in preparation for what I was going to talk about today. And he was suitably impressed by that. Well, as impressed as an almost 13-year-old can get when I interrupt TikTok or what else is it? He goes on Snapchat or whatever it is. I don't know. I interrupted him. He wasn't quite amused by that, but he gave me a nod and said that's nice. So I'll take that as a win. That'll do it for this week, my friends. 2 more very, very important games for us. More so the Dundee League game for real this time. Another couple of clean sheets and victories this week would be very, very much appreciated, Rangers. As always, thanks a million for taking the time to listen to this, and please do share it with whomever you think might enjoy it. Until next week, take care. All the very best. Cheerio.